The first time Captain Rhea Sully saw them, she thought they were statues, small, unmoving shapes half buried in the frost of the abandoned colony. The wind on Vaeron, 6 howled through the broken structures like a grieving thing, carrying flakes of snow and metallic dust across her visor. Her boots crunched as she approached the line of tiny bodies arranged beside the collapsed habitat dome. "Scans?" she asked, her voice echoing in her helmet. Her ship's AI, Calyx, responded. "Life signatures. Faint, extremely faint, but present." Rhea froze. "Life? Here?" The mining company's official report had claimed all colonists evacuated, non-essential constructs disposed. She'd assumed non-essential constructs meant broken drones or damaged industrial bots, machines not worth repairing. But this was different. Rhea knelt beside the closest figure. It was small, no taller than her knee. Its synthetic skin, a pale slate blue, was cracked by cold. 2 dark eyes, almost human but too still, stared up at nothing. "Calyx," she whispered. "These are children." Clarification. The AI corrected softly. "They are Generation 4 companion units. Biosynthetic. Created to resemble children for therapeutic and sociological use. Company policy deemed them non-economically viable during the evacuation." Rhea felt her stomach twist. "Left them to die," she muttered. Affirmative. The colony's interior was a graveyard of silent machinery and shattered habitats. Rhea found 7 of the small constructs in total, all motionless, all cold, but alive barely. As she worked, kneeling in the snow, she felt an unexpected heaviness in her chest. Companion units were designed for emotional bonding, but these had been discarded like broken tools. She couldn't understand it.
She didn't want to.
"Calyx, prep the med bay," she said. "We're taking them. Captain, this action violates." "Override," she snapped. "Priority 1 humanitarian." A pause. Override accepted. One by one, she carried them to her shuttle, lightweight, limp, fragile things. When she lifted the smallest of them, its frozen fingers twitched weakly, as though trying to hold on. Her throat tightened. "You're safe," she whispered. "I've got you." Inside the ship, heat returned slowly to the constructs' bodies. Their systems flickered like fading candles struggling back to life. Rhea checked vitals, reconnected power conduits, stabilized neurogel circuits. Hours passed. Finally, one of them moved. A soft sound, a chirp, almost like a frightened animal, echoed from the med bay. Rhea turned to see a pair of dark glassy eyes blinking open. The little construct flinched at the bright lights, curling inwards. Its voice, thin and shaking, emerged. Where is my handler?" Rhea's heart cracked. "Your handler isn't here anymore," she said gently. "But you're safe with me." The small figure stared at her with an expression that should have been impossible for a machine.
Loss.
Over the next 2 days, the rest awoke. They called themselves Leary,
Pax.
Nori,
Tef.
Morrow, Sela, and the smallest, Unit 9. "They used to call me 9, it told her in a tiny, trembling voice. "But my handler called me Little Nova." Rhea felt a lump form in her throat. She learned their story piece by piece, slowly, hesitantly, as they warmed to her presence. The company had created them as emotional support companions for colonists living in isolation. But when profits dropped and resources thinned, the corporation ordered a rapid evacuation. The companion units were deemed non-productive assets, too costly to transport, too insignificant to matter. So they were shut down and left outside, where the cold would finish what the company didn't bother to. The children knew. Some even remembered being carried outside and left. Tef trembled when he spoke of it. My handler said she was sorry. She cried, but she still left. Rhea didn't know what to say. She couldn't lie. She couldn't explain cruelty. Instead, she listened. And she stayed. By the fourth day, her ship felt different. The constructs explored corridors cautiously, moving in small groups, clinging to each other like siblings. They weren't like other synthetics Rhea had seen. Their movements were soft, fluid, full of small emotional tells, restlessness, curiosity, fear. They were more alive than many humans she'd met. Unit 9, Little Nova, followed her everywhere. When Rhea worked at her console, Nova sat curled on a chair beside her, legs tucked beneath, watching in quiet fascination. Why did you come to Viron 6? Nova asked one evening. To investigate the colony shutdown, she replied. Some things in the report didn't feel right. Because they lied, Nova whispered. Yes. Nova hesitated. Why did you save us? Humans don't usually do that. Rhea looked at the small child-shaped construct, the cracks in its synthetic skin now healing. Because someone should have. Nova absorbed the answer silently, then leaned against her arm with a soft hum. But saving them was only the beginning. When Rhea transmitted her findings to Central Command, the response was immediate and hostile. Return the companion units. Unauthorized salvage. Violation of corporate property law. Failure to comply will result in termination of contract and possible seizure of vessel. Calyx flickered onto a nearby screen. Captain, they intend to retrieve the units for destruction. Rhea's hands clenched. No, she said. They're coming home with us. Then we must run, Calyx replied. Rhea nodded once. Plot a course. But escape wouldn't be easy. The company had already dispatched an interceptor. The chase began. The ship shuddered violently as enemy fire grazed their shields. Nori and Sela clung to each other in the doorway, trembling. Rhea turned her chair, voice sharp. Strap in. Safety harness now. They scrambled into seats, hands shaking as they clipped in. Calyx announced, incoming vessel gaining speed. Rhea gritted her teeth. Not today. She pulled hard on the manual controls, diving her ship into the storm bands of the planet below. Turbulence slammed through the cabin. Lightning arced outside, illuminating the clouds like glowing veins. The construct screamed. Rhea kept her voice steady despite her racing pulse. It's okay.
Hold on.
I'm right here. The company ship followed, persistent, hungry. Calyx's voice crackled. Captain, their weapons are charging. Rhea whispered. Calyx vent plasma coils. Full discharge. That maneuver may disable our engines. Do it. A blinding burst of energy erupted behind them, a brilliant blue flare that exploded in the storm. The pursuing vessel was engulfed, its systems overloading in a surge of electrical chaos. Calyx confirmed, Enemy ship disabled. Rhea exhaled shakily. They were safe. Hours later, the children gathered around her in the quiet of the mess hall. The storm outside had softened, casting pale light through the ship's windows. Leary approached her first. "Are we trouble for you?" she asked softly. Rhea knelt, so she was eye level with them.
No.
"You're not trouble. You're passengers. And you're going home." Nova lifted her small hand and touched Rhea's chest, just above her heart. "Is there really a home? For us?" Rhea smiled, the kind of smile she hadn't felt in years.
Yes.
"With me." The small group exchanged glances, fear mixed with hope.
Hope won.
They moved closer, surrounding her in a gentle, hesitant group embrace, synthetic arms wrapping around her shoulders, small heads pressing against her. It felt like being trusted with something fragile and irreplaceable, something alive. 3 weeks later, Rhea's ship touched down at Haven Station, an independent settlement known for protecting synthetic life forms. When the constructs stepped onto the landing platform, sunlight washed over them. Real sunlight, not the dim, artificial glow of a dying colony. Nova took her hand. "Is this where we live now?"
If you want, Rhea said.
"It's your choice." The little construct nodded and squeezed her fingers. Behind them, the other 6 gazed at the bustling station, synthetics of many forms living freely, laughing, building, learning. A future, a place that wanted them. Rhea knelt, looking at each of them. "You were never useless," she said. "You were never garbage. They left you behind because they couldn't see your worth. But I do, and so will others." Nova blinked, eyes shining with soft bioluminescent glow. "Then, we want to stay. With you." Rhea felt warmth spread through her chest. "Then welcome home." The wind swept gently across the platform as 7 once-forgotten children stepped into a new life, rescued not because they were machines, but because they were alive enough to deserve love, and because one human chose to see them.